Today we have a special guest here with us.
We
Say, hey,
do.
Keita, you look so
Hi,
pretty.
everyone.
Hey,
How are you doing? Happy MLK Day.
All
happy
right. Happy
MLK Day.
MLK Day.
Hey,
Welcome back.
welcome back. So, our mission is to heal and help others as we heal and help ourselves through purpose driven conversations. Today we are talking about Journey to Peace,
Hmm.
an amazing class that Chanel and I, along with our other bestie Scarlett, we got a chance to take this class with you, LaKetta Denise, the facilitator. So, we are going to talk about that today. You are the heart healer. That is what Chanel calls you.
All right.
Heart healer,
Yes.
also known as the heart whisperer.
Yes. All of those things.
Who comes up with this? I don't know. But Chanel is the queen of that. She always has some sort of catchphrase or something that
Hey,
I just roll with it. I just learned that if you just roll with it, it sticks.
there we go.
And then it becomes a part of you. But we are going to get into the class that we took with you. But before we
Yeah.
start with that, we're going to start like we always do with a toast. So I'm going to start with my bestie, Chanel. Tell me, who are you toasting to today?
So I'm gonna give my toast to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I'm glad Lakita brought that up for today. It's so today, usually, I'll try to do some service too, but with everything being virtual, I didn't do any service today. But what I did do was I watched some documentaries, some that I haven't seen on Dr. King. So a really good one is King in the Wilderness. So if you haven't seen that one, you should probably watch that. It's on YouTube. It was really great. And then I watched another one about his brother. So he also died like shortly after Dr. King died, which was really good and interesting as well. So just looking at the parallels of everything that Dr. King fought for and how where we are today, it always makes me think like, he made great strides. However, we're still in a place that we're still fighting for equality to be equal in 2020. And the 60s was not that far ago. So everybody's posting these black and white pictures. And I'm glad people are posting colored pictures because this was not that long ago. So we don't want people to be confused. Like, because the picture is black and white, it was so long
Like in the
ago.
20s.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's what I did today. So shout out to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you for, your life of service. And that's really what it was.
Yes. All right. Now, Lakita Denise,
Okay.
who are you toasting to today?
Today, I'm going to toast to Lauren Feaster, who is the
Nice.
president of Professional Dimensions. I just got off of a Zoom meeting with them, and we took a look at the letter of Birmingham in a Birmingham jail from Dr. King. So I'm just really proud of the work that she is doing with Professional Dimensions as a young millennial, making changes to bring equality to our city and the nation.
Okay. All
Nice.
right.
That's what's up.
You know, now I feel bad for my toast because I feel like y'all are being all historic and, like
No.
revering Dr. King. And I do too,
There
because
we
I
go.
too would be out here, doing service work. Today we would do a MLK mobilization day today. But of course, because of COVID, we are not doing that. So since I can't toast Dr. King, I will toast other kings.
There we
And
go.
I will say that my toast goes to raising the bar because last week we were able to do an amazing panel of four amazing black men. I think they were aged 39 to 51,
Hmm.
52, and we got to get some great insight on them. And Chanel and I got to pick their brains, child.
We
We was all up
did.
in there, hey, and we found out how men make
Yeah,
friends.
we did. We were like,
We were like, what?
it's happening.
This is it, right? We went off on a whole tangent on one of our
Yeah,
episodes. Like, what do they do?
and we
But
saw
we
it.
saw it. It was real quick.
Yeah,
It was like, brother, and if you don't mind, I would like to get your contact information, and that, and boom, it was
definitely
done.
yes. Yes.
My second toast has to go to Clubhouse
Nice.
because we have all been indulging in it over this weekend, and Lakita and I are gonna do one tomorrow. We're gonna host a room. Is it? I don't
Hmm.
know. I got to get my language together, and we'll have to check and see if Chanel's free and if she's gonna join us. But it's really, if you're not familiar with Clubhouse, it's like a live chat room that allows for collaboration and just live communication. And it's usually really productive conversation. So I was in rooms about get, people striving to get into law school, preparing for the LSAT, things about, relationships, how to grow your content on Instagram, just things like that. So it's really just people coming together, networking, collaborating, building each other up. And, that's what we like to do.
Mhm.
So your girl is in there, and you can follow Brunch with
There we
Besties
go.
on
Hey.
Clubhouse. We are Brunch W Besties. Um, I am Sherry Renee one, I believe.
Yes.
So Sherry with a Y. Don't ever put an I in my name, because if you do, we will no longer be friends.
There we go.
Chanel, who are you on Clubhouse?
I'm Bestie Chanel on Clubhouse.
Bestie Chanel
There we
with a
go.
C.
There we
Chanel
go.
with a C. Don't put no S's up in there.
No, Chanel number 5.
Chanel
That's
number
me.
five.
Love it.
So so I had chances to moderate, participate, and just collaborate. So I've been having a ball in the Clubhouse.
Okay, Clubhouse.
Shouts out to the Clubhouse. Okay,
Mhm.
so now it is time for us to break bread. We need to check in, see
You know
how
I'll
we are
never be
doing.
ready. Come on.
We checking in. So, Bestie, how's it going? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad we had this. Thank you again, Dr. King, and thank you, Coretta Scott King, for fighting so hard to make this day a holiday. Because it was much needed. I'm glad to have the break after working a full week off of vacation, and then to have this extra day was clutch. And I was enjoying my weekend. It was really nice. I didn't do much. Oh well, it was Founders Day over the weekend, but hung out with my sorors and things like that. But then I got to rest, so that was good. So that's how I'm feeling refreshed. I'm ready to start this 4-day week and just knock it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Key to life, how are you doing? Let's check in.
I feel good. I had a inspiring day. I read some books, listened to the Letter of Birmingham, Dr. King, got my nails done.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. That's why your nails were so cute.
Mhm.
Okay.
Fresh
See,
Manny.
I knew
yes.
it.
Okay.
I knew I needed a manicure because winter is wreaks havoc on my skin. So just really had a chance to relax. Oh, my favorite part of today, we are raising the bar, gave gift cards to the Hope House. So check them out. They help families who are displaced. So it was really cool to be able to serve today.
Nice. That's awesome.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
That's awesome. Okay. What's going on? Oh, sitting over
So
here.
I did not have off of work today. And so I completed my first full week of work back last week. And when I tell you that you need stamina to make it through the day, honey, so your girl was winded by Friday. But Friday was also Founders Day. And I actually was very startled when I woke up because my phone had way too many missed calls and text messages. And I literally thought somebody died. Like I was like, so we got not even going to wait till normal business hours. Like we just going to go in to the Founders Day. But what a historic moment. What a time to be a Black woman in America. What a time to be an AKA. We had a special live streaming ceremony with SOAR Kamala Harris. I should say Vice
Mhm.
President elect.
Yes.
That elect is gonna drop off just in
It's
a
good.
couple
Couple
days, child. It's just gonna
days.
drop
What?
right
Like 2
off.
more days?
2 more
Come
days.
on.
We just gonna
2.
drop it,
Yes.
But and also Sora Felicia Rashad was present
Oh,
as well.
nice.
So yeah, so it was just a great treat. There was a lot of Black girl magic going on Friday, and I was just thankful and grateful to be a part. I was excited. I felt blessed to be Black.
Yes.
I was like, I just feel so blessed to be Black today. I don't know. You know what? Maybe that was my super Negro powers kicking in. I don't know.
Yes.
Because see, we keep going back to that. What was it? December the 21st? When
Yeah.
was it the great
I
conjunction?
don't even
I don't
know.
know.
I just woke up to a lot of
But
shenanigans
all I
going
know
on.
is if we do have Negro superpowers, mine were in full effect on Friday.
That's
Okay.
what's up.
That's all I got to say.
It was all that wonderful Black girl magic energy
Yes,
too.
it
So that's
was.
what's up.
Yes, it was. And
Aw.
then, the Founders Days just trickled on in right behind each other.
They did.
They just trickled on in. So here we are.
Ooh, right. Glad that's over.
Oh,
All the
and I
Founders Days
did
are
I
over.
did hang with my line sisters too. So that was
Nice.
good. That was
Okay.
good. So yeah, so now see, I'm trying to give you time,
And I
but see, you
still
still don't be ready. I don't
Never.
understand.
Never.
I start talking all slow.
Oh
So now
gosh.
it
It's
is
time.
time for the tip.
Oh gosh. Always. I'm gonna get better at that
I love it. It's so funny. I'd be like, she know it's coming. Like we got the
every
same flow.
time, and I'm like,
Right. Rocking, just doing your own thing.
Man.
Like, but whatever, here we
Here
are.
we are.
So now it's time for our favorite part. It is time for tea time. We have
Woo.
the one, the only, the LaKetta, the Denise Caldwell, also known as Keita Life.
Key to life.
You are
Yes.
co-owner, co-creator of Raising the Bar. You
Yes.
are Keita Life.
Mm-hmm.
You are the heart healer.
The heart healer.
You
Yes.
are from Paducah, Kentucky.
Yes. Repping Paducah.
Made your way over to Illinois and then to the Big Apple. And now we are blessed to have you in the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where you
Mm-hmm.
are just out here making strides, touching the lives of others across the world, just inspiring people to heal and using art to do so. So
Yes.
before we get started, I have to get stats because our listeners, they can't see you. Some of them have heard you on previous episodes. Hey, go back and listen.
Yes.
And also, we talked about your work. We did an episode where we talked about one of the lessons that we had to do, but now we're just going to go ahead and do a recap because, again, the journal, Journey to Peace, it was a 30-day journal that we did together along with our bestie Scarlett, and it was great. We felt healed.
We did.
It
It
was
was great.
good. But
Mm-hmm.
I want to get some statistics. Let's tell people how old you are, what you do, and then what inspired this journal. Let's start there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I am 44 years old. I will be 45 this year, which I'm super excited about. I am the director of the Opportunity Academy for Lumen Lutheran Schools. That's my full time job. And you also shared all of the other things that I do. And the inspiration behind this journal, I write key to life messages. And a lot of people ask me, why do I write key to life messages? They think they're for them, but honestly, they're for me first. And so I started to share them out, and it came from just healing my heart because I wrote this piece called Ready for Love. And in order to be ready for love, I had to heal broken places so I could be ready for my husband. And
Mm.
I didn't want to give, hey, because he's coming. And
Listen.
I didn't want to give him those broken places because we're a power couple and we're building empires. So I wanted to be ready for that. And so I had to, the journey to peace. And it was my journey first.
Mm.
That's awesome. And the
Mm-hmm.
piece Ready for Love is a poem that you did and that you performed not too long ago. So, can you give us a little bit of background about, let's say, your academic background so that we can understand your love for arts and how that correlates with the work that you do?
Well, I started at 3 years old. My mother put me in ballet because I talked way young and I talked a lot. And she thought that that was a place for me to be. But I fell in love with the stage at the age of 3. And so when I was a little kid, I wanted to be an author, I wanted to be an actress, I wanted to do everything performing arts related. And so I went to Southern Illinois University at Carbondale, Masaluki. Hey, I studied speech communication because I thought I was going to be like Oprah. I was going to have my own show. And so I worked for 2 news stations while I was in college and then was like, no, I don't necessarily want to be a reporter. And I took a performance studies class where I saw someone through their performance go from being a victim to a survivor. They were anorexic and they just talked about how food became like a weapon for them. And I was just like, that's amazing. So when I applied to go to New York University, I went there for drama therapy. And because I saw the healing impact, how could someone come to church and they were addicted to drugs, but through the sermon and the music, they let it go. So I was just fascinated by how story transform and changes life. I still wanted to be famous when I first moved to New York. But then through the work that I did through the creative arts team, I saw that there was so much more that I could do. We did play therapy with students who were sexually abused, used storytelling with schizophrenic patients. And then I ended up getting my degree in education and theater because at first to be a good therapist you have to go through the process, and doing those internships with kids who have been sexually abused and working with patients who was it was really heavy, and then class was heavy because people shared their journey and story. I wasn't quite ready for it, so then I moved to Milwaukee and worked for the Milwaukee Rep and First Stage Children's Theater. But it shifted for me from wanting to do theater where people clap for me. I wanted to tell stories where people were healed. So my first real big project in Milwaukee was when I worked with an organization. They had me come and speak at Take Back the Night, where people who had been sexually assaulted were there. And I saw a woman who had a sign that said, molested but still beautiful.
Mm.
And it was so powerful to me because at that moment, I was heartbroken. And so I went and worked with the Healing Center. I interviewed over 100 women. And some of the women I saw through their story transform, they were victims and then they were survivors. But then there were some people who teetered on the mount, like, am I going to step off of this mountain because I can't take it anymore? But something pulled them back. And so it was through the stories. I would sit and record their stories and just cry. And it was through their stories. And for me, it was that they felt safe enough to share something, because your body remembers what your mind forgets.
Yes, it
And
does.
so something that had happened to their body, they felt safe enough to share it with me. And so took and put those stories together. The first group, people like Dasha Kelly, the poet, Tamara Key, some local Milwaukee people who told the stories. But I think one of the biggest times was when people who had been sexually assaulted shared and performed the stories. And it was just so powerful to me that something that people could, to see their story and to bring awareness to something that is so heavy and a lot of people don't want to talk about. So God, through telling other people's stories of traumatic experiences, like one of my students, he had committed suicide.
Mm.
And so we put together a public service announcement for him. I never knew that that prepared me to deal with my brother's suicide. So God was like, you can't equip people if you never walked it. And
Mm.
so he allowed me to work on the public service announcement. And then I remember in my TED talk, I talk about how it felt as if my heart was on the outside of my chest. And there were nights where I would just cry with tear-stained journal entries. And so my TED talk literally was my heart on paper. Then it was my heart in my body, because I shared with you, your body remembers what your mind forgets. And I felt like I had to let the words come out of my body, because that was the only, I make sense of the world through art.
Mhm.
And so when the words were in my body and went out into the world, people in the audience cried, but I had cried, literally cried in my journal. And so that's what they received when I was on stage, literally an eruption. I would call it almost as if I threw up
Mhm.
everything that was in my journey, that emotion, the journey from when I got the call to months after the funeral. That's what they experienced with me. But I felt so much peace and release when I went through that. So that's what my journal is. Literally, I don't go into detail about the moments, but people who are in my life, they were like, oh, I remember. That's what you're talking about. Because they experienced, I was very vulnerable in the journey. And so people who have been around me know that moment that I'm referring to in the journal.
Mm. Wow.
So art is my life. It is my heartbeat. It is like, if I couldn't do it, I couldn't live. That's how
Mhm.
important art is. And again, not art for you to clap or bring me roses, but art that makes people change when they leave, like that nugget or that seed has been planted in them. I've got to do something different.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and I feel like we got to experience that powerfulness of how important art is to you through our course with you through the journey through peace, the 30 days, because you had us doing stuff where I was like, I haven't done this in a long time,
Child, she
like
had us doing stuff where I was like, I would never.
and but it felt so
It,
good to
you know
do
what?
it.
It honestly, it did feel
It
so good
did.
because I'm just not artsy craftsy. So when you're like, and your crayons and your color pencils, I was like, excuse me, say what?
Yes. And it was like I was looking
But
forward to doing that every Saturday. And it was just like, okay, get your crayons out, like get ready to draw or like do this. And I'm
right,
like, okay, I get to be creative because I think as adults, once we're beyond like grade school and things like that, we do get pushed away from that creative side. But art is very much important. I mean, I went
and
to an
it is
arts
an
high school.
outlet.
It's very
And I
much art
think that
outlet.
that's
Yeah.
what I took for granted. Like my initial thought was like, I don't do arts and crafts. Sherry Renee does not draw. This is gonna look like a 6-year-old did it. But then, when we just did it and we made connections with
Mhm.
everything, and then it was literally a manifestation of me in that moment. So it would became something that I actually appreciated. And I was like, I'm about to put in work on this next piece.
Yeah.
Shoot.
And you do such a good job of facilitating when you can see that people might be uncomfortable with being artistic, their artistic selves. But you were patient, like it don't matter. You was like, I don't draw, but we gonna do this together. We got it, and it's gonna be fine because it's the release of the emotions. It's not really about the drawing or the
Yeah.
poem that you create. It's about the release of the emotions and figuring out how you feel in those feelings. So
Right.
you
And
take it
my
deeper.
crayons were actually markers from that I would use on my whiteboard. So but I was like, that's all I
Hey,
have, and that's
it
okay.
worked. That's
It is
true.
what it
I
is.
think mine was JR's. Like, I got a kid. He got smart supply.
I was like, my
So,
niece will shank me if I take her crayons because she ain't playing about them. But in any case, we're just kind of referring to, well, for me, it was mainly the first exercise
mhm.
that we did. But in every one of our sessions, you found a way to incorporate art, and I think that it also made it memorable. Like it made the lesson stick. It made it tangible. It made us engage in all of our five senses. You know what I mean? And therefore, it's now ingrained in us. And I think that this class or this course is something that is unforgettable because of the way that you facilitated it, because of the way that you engaged all of our senses, because of the way that you made us create something. I cannot forget what I created. You know
No,
what I mean?
no. And you touched on different art. So it wasn't just
Drawing.
visual arts. It
Yes.
was music. It was get up and move. It was do whatever you need to do to get out this to get to peace. And it really was that. And I was just like, this is tight. Cause I can remember like the songs you played, and like that stuff stuck with
Sticks.
me.
Yes. Hmm.
So it was a whole, like Sherry Renee said, like a total, like all of my senses were engulfed. So we were touching on all of the arts, the kinesthetic, the visual, the everything. Like we touched on it all.
Heck, I'm an artiste.
Yes, you are. And I think one of the things is that we get so adult, we get
Yeah.
so professional that we are too hard on ourselves. So
Yeah.
part of it, draw your tree. It does not have to look like Chanel's tree or Scarlett's tree. It is your tree. And that represents how hard that our perfection is killing us. Like
Mm.
it's literally like we are so cognitive, like I've got to be perfect. It's got to just be just right. And just right, we forget that we don't pay attention to the process trying to be just right. And we're
Mhm.
trying to
Right.
be just right for everybody.
I'm like, she didn't give us no outlines of the tree.
And I think that's tight because some of the world's like most beautiful pieces of art were mistakes. Like it wasn't like, oh, this was the idea I had. It was just like, oh, either I didn't finish it or I just messed up. But now it's a work of art. Like here it is. So I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, or it's just like some of the most beautiful visual landscapes and things like that. Like it was formed out of something else, like the
Hmm.
Grand Canyon and
Yeah.
all, like, it just like it wasn't intended to be like this.
Mm.
But now people are coming from everywhere to see this thing. So hey,
Yeah. It's a wonder of the world.
what made you like why peace? You know what I mean? Like what is so unique about peace that you were like, I have to write about this? And not only do I have to write about this, but I have to make women write about this, like as opposed to love, as opposed to joy, as opposed to anything else. Why peace?
So for me, I peace is the foundation. That I had a lot of broken cracks. I had some cracks, and so if I couldn't heal those peace was the end gate for love, for joy, for all of those things.
Mm.
And I felt like I didn't have it. I remember one time you all had my big sister Denisha on the show,
Hmm.
and she called me one day. Like I tell this story because she tells it all the time. But she called me one day just really excited. She was so happy about everything. And then I just started crying out of nowhere. I was like, oh my God. I was like, you sound so happy. And that was a moment that I knew I didn't have peace nor joy. And in
Mm.
order for me to get to the joy, I had to have peace no matter what. Peace in the midst of the hello going around. Peace in the midst of okay, I'm a little worried. I don't know what to do. But being able to put together ways in which to have the peace that I needed. And I had to fight for it. And so that's why I started with peace. And I'm going to have other ones like joy and love, but I had to get this peace thing right. And I'm so excited that I experience the journey again with you all. So every time I have a tribe, I go through the process again because 30 days literally gets you cognitive. So you develop a habit in 21 days. I want to give you an extra few days so you could really get this habit like solidified. Like I'm gonna have peace by any means necessary. And I started to tell myself like, Keita, you deserve peace by any means necessary. You can't help other people if you are a step away from having a break. Your friend is calling you happy and you start crying because you recognize that wasn't where you were. And I had to figure out what balls were taking sucking away my peace. And so that's why it was me. I was a mess.
Mm, that's deep.
So you are your own audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
I
can't teach
didn't really
you
write
what
this for
I have
y'all.
to.
I wrote this for me.
Yes, and I love how you said that earlier on too. That God was like, "Well, you can't tell other people about it if you haven't gone through this. Like, I need to share my journey to peace to get you where you need to go through your journey through peace." And I just think that I love the idea of like pieces, like a play on words. Like I'm in broken pieces, but I'm gonna heal and put it together to get to peace. And I think that was a huge part for me. Like I didn't even recognize the pieces that I had missing until we got in that class, and I was like, like crying every day, and I was like, dang. And it's so funny because I think I said this in one of my classes. Like I will cry, but I will bury. Like I'm not gonna let this come out. I'm gonna just push it because I gotta keep going. I got stuff to do. Like I don't have time to sit here and cry. But those classes, I was just like letting it out, and it felt so good to let it out. Like, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I truly needed this. Those pieces needed to be fixed to get to that piece that I needed. And I won't say it's like complete because, like you said, it's building a habit. So now it's like me continually thinking about my journey to peace.
Or continuing the journey
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
peace,
In peace.
in
There we
peace
go.
or with peace,
Yes. Yes.
Because
intentionally, right?
the
And
one woman show, I'm not your superwoman. That's why it's called I'm not your superwoman 30-day journey to peace because as
Mm,
superwomen, we push stuff down. I don't have time to deal with me. I'm a leader, I'm in a sorority, I go to church, I'm on this board, I'm on that board. I gotta do. And we don't take the time to stop and be like, oh, I got this crack. If it keeps getting deeper, as you know, Scarlett from the show, she had so many cracks that eventually her heart just she
yeah.
couldn't do it anymore. And she checked out. Or we don't know at the end, did she take her life or did she not take her life? But it was because she had too many cracks and she had pushed all the way down.
So what
Ooh.
Lakita is referencing, so before we did the class, before the class even existed, Lakita had a panel discussion. This was in person pre-COVID
I know, right?
in February. Shouts out to February, my
Right.
birthday month. Hey, no, but
Hey.
there was a live panel discussion that I got to participate in, and it was called the "I'm Not Your Superwoman" panel. And in this, the precursor to the panel, Lakita actually came out and did a one woman show or a snippet, I'll say, of a one woman show where she was the character Scarlett. So Scarlett is the one who, like you said, she's a sorority member. She's on this board. She's on that board. Everybody is taking from her, right? And she does not take care of herself. It's a habit, right? So those of us who are on the panel, we got to kind of talk about the things that we do that might be detrimental to ourselves. I just didn't want us to confuse that with our bestie Scarlett because that is just so funny that then Scarlett, our bestie, ended up doing the class with us. But I was going to say she is not the Scarlett that you're talking about, but
Oh
maybe she
yeah.
is. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so
Because we all
funny.
embodied that
A little
woman
bit.
that you
Yeah.
discussed.
There was pieces of her in all of
So,
us for sure.
yeah, and then we followed up with a live. So it was like a part two where we invited other women to just kind of share in on the superwoman or what the superwoman syndrome is and how it manifests in our life. And we did get to, well, you recorded a separate audio of
Mm-hmm.
Scarlett that really explained like what was going on in her life. And I think a lot of women really resonated with that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're
Mm-hmm.
all Scarlett.
There we go.
We are all
We
scarlet.
sure are. So, where did that come from? This superwoman ideal? Like, where did it come from for you?
Well, I partner with Mental Health of America, and we were just having a conversation. I was having a conversation with their CEO and president, and we just started to talk about like with all the things that we have going on. And I think about, for me, I brought up when I go on vacation, at least 2 days I'm sleeping because I'm exhausted or I'm sick. So I'm forced to sleep. And I was like, why is it that that happens? Why do I keep going and piling things on? Or just calling one of my friends just having a meltdown? Is because I too push things all the way down. And then I like interviewing people, so I talked to 75 women who were in leadership positions, and I promise you it was the same woman just with a different name. They had the same experience. Well, I don't get to not, there's not a lot of people I can talk to. I mean, if something breaks down, I got to do it no matter what. And that no matter what is killing us. And so that's where I'm not your superwoman. When I had the first reading of the one woman show, it was Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, and every woman in the room cried because
They
they felt
did.
like they felt like it was them and it resonated with them so strongly. And I'm just like, wow, this story needs to be told. And then having a good friend like Sherry, who was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing your journal. Oh, this is unbelievable. And I realized I had a lot of people who purchased my journal, but it only works if you use it. It's a tool.
Mhm.
So then she was like, you got to do workshops. And I was like, so it's all your circle. I just want to shout that out. Your circle is so important because they stretch you and push you. So that's where the series came from. So I get to be a guide, a whisperer, heart healer. To I love it, Chanel. Yes, to guide you, to hold you accountable, to take care of yourself because you matter that much.
Mm.
Mm.
Yes. I
Yes.
love that. That's so right. But I just keep thinking because you say that a lot because you matter, and I think that is so powerful to reinforce that, especially to Black women or any woman. Women are so strong, and we do so much. Hence, Superwoman. But you said that a lot in our class. Like, this is your time. Like, did you take time for you today because you matter? This is for you. So I continuously hear that in my head. That yeah, you matter, ladies. Take some time for you.
Yeah, and I think that we often try to make other people feel like they matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it can be easy to dismiss yourself, right? To diminish yourself because you want other people to know how important they are.
Mm.
So you're like sort of reflecting that back on us. But you've mentioned Denisha. She, like you said, she was on our podcast as well. She wrote the book 1 Mile Below Bottom,
Mm-hmm.
keeping was it your joy in
Yeah,
hell?
hell, like I got it down here in the book.
But I believe she was on episode 140. When anytime somebody's asked to listen to the podcast or they've never listened, I always send them that episode because I'm like, don't listen to me, listen to Denisha. You don't want to hear me, you really want to hear her. But she one of the things that she said this past weekend, because she also participated not as a panelist but as a speaker, as a precursor to the panel discussion, and she talked about how peace is a currency.
Mm-hmm.
And she was in the way the her using that word currency made me think like, okay, I need to budget my peace. I need to mind my peace. Like I need to watch how I'm spending it because you don't know it's gone till it's gone. Like you said, you didn't realize that you didn't have peace until you saw Denisha have peace.
Mhm.
Right. So it's like the absence of it made you aware that it was lacking. Or actually I should say, um, you witnessing her piece made you
Mm-hmm.
realize that you didn't have it. So it's one of those things where it's like it'll just slip away and you won't even realize it. So it is important to just be intentional and say, what am I doing for myself today, and being mindful of what disturbs your peace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we will sit there and keep engaging in things that really don't bring us peace.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where it's like, okay, if I'm not mindful of it, then I'm just thinking about, oh well, no, but I need to do this, or I need to go here, I got to do that. But do I?
Yeah.
Not if it's costing me too much peace, because it's a currency, right? If it's a
Yeah.
currency, then I have to watch how I spend it. So
you
I
know.
just thought that that was such an interesting metaphor that she chose to use, and how it just tied in with your class and how you kept making us just be mindful of, okay, what did you do today for you?
Yeah, I
Because
love
if you
that.
ask me what I did today, I'm gonna tell you all the productive things that I did. Your girl was
Mhm.
up at 5 a.m. Okay, she was cooking and cleaning and cleaning and cooking. That was before work. Okay, she studied right, but what did I do for me?
Mhm.
Right? Not like the check the boxes, not the deliverables. What did you do for you?
Yeah. And I think that's so important because it takes you back to your being a kid. Like kids don't have that they don't have well, some kids, some kids do.
Child, some of them do.
So some kids don't have that responsibility. They're just carefree and they are doing things that make them happy, that bring them peace. So I think that is a reflection of that, like getting back to your inner child and what brings you that true peaceful
And
feeling.
honoring it
Mm-hmm.
and saying, I want to lay down right now.
Just listen.
I don't want to do this thing. Like,
None of the
I'm not
things are
doing it.
done.
She's going to bed. You know what I mean? And then it kind of took me back to, I know like last year, I used to deliberately, intentionally put time on my calendar for me. Like, I would just block it off. And like people would be like, "Oh, can you? Nope, I'm busy. What are you doing? It don't matter. Like, what are you doing? Nothing. Well, can you? No, I
Yeah.
can't.
No is a complete sentence.
It's a complete sentence.
No.
No, no, I
It is.
can't. And that time's reserved for me. So if I'm just going to lay down and do absolutely nothing, then child, that's what I'm going to do. If I'm going to read a book, then that's what I'm going to do.
It's
You
my
know?
time.
So
Right.
for all those women out there like me who want to be a wife, you don't know how to take care of your man if you can't take care of yourself.
Ooh, come on
So,
with the words.
so I'm just being honest. You cannot, you can't know how to cater to him if you, and that's the mistake we as women make because we don't do that for ourselves. You don't know
Mhm.
how to cater to him. You don't know what he likes because shoot, you don't know what you like. You
Mm.
don't know how to listen to him because you don't know how to listen to yourself. When your body is like, you got these aches that came out of nowhere, take a look at what your schedule is like.
Mhm.
That those are things that are so important because your marriage will be so great and so full because you're full. So like there's a piece that I have, let peace reside within your soul. Peace can't be something somebody gives you. A man ain't gonna bring you peace. Sherry's not going to bring me peace. It's got to reside within my soul because the next part, this high pressure front has a weather film code. And
Mm.
there's so much, that means simply there's so much crap going on that if you ain't got peace on the inside, when the hurricane comes, the storm of life rages, you gonna roll away with the storm because you don't have peace. And that's why Denisha, I'm bringing her up again. Denisha could have brain surgery and leukemia and look like nothing's happened to her because she had the peace on the inside.
Mm.
She knew how to marriage when her husband came. She knew how to. She knew she had value. She had joy and peace before he came to the table.
Mm.
She knew she was like, oh, we gonna complement each other. You're
Mm.
not gonna complete me. You gonna complement me. And peace when you walk in your in your stuff and you got peace and you got joy, the man compliments you. He doesn't complete you. You don't need him. It's something, it's a desire that manifests. It's
Mm.
something you wanted that manifests, but you don't need him. He doesn't need you, but together, y'all are powerful. Y'all complement each other.
Yes.
I'm talking about love, but yeah.
Come
Y'all,
on, you had me. I was totally like in golf. Like, come on with these words, and I love how you speak so like in the present of it. Like, I just know your husband he is on the
yeah.
way because just how you speak about it. And I think that's important. I think this year, as a circle, we've talked about like positive speaking and not talking negative, and I think that is important. And talking in the present, like as if you already have it, like
And he's
walking in
here.
every. Yes,
He's
listen.
in my face, like right now. I'm believing it. Yes.
Yes,
And
I
then I wish you
listen.
could see now. I got like my affirmations up here. I am
Mm,
God's helpmate. Trust God. I am debt free. So I
mm.
got my I am's here. So as I'm talking to you, I'm looking over here, talking to you, looking over here, like, yes, it's manifesting right now. I get excited about it.
Yes, ma'am.
So, what does the format of this class look like? Obviously, we know, but
Yeah,
please
we know.
explain it to our listeners.
So the format is we meet once a week for an hour and a half. Sometimes we go a little bit over, but you form a tribe. So the women, you could bring your sister girls with you. And what I liked about my first, well, y'all were my first. What I liked about it was y'all were already cool, but then I think it was Chanel who said, like, man, we're really family and sisters now. I was like, oh my God. Oh, goodness. So I teared up and that was beautiful. So you form a tribe because this is a space where you will be vulnerable.
Mhm.
You will also have homework, but the homework is not that hard. It's going to make you feel. So don't be afraid to feel. And it's going to make you think and reflect on yourself. And you're going to share in the space. So I'm not asking you to give, and I don't share. So I also share of myself because I think we learn through each other's. I've been to church my whole life, testimonies.
Mhm.
And I grew from your stories and you grew from my stories. And that's how the tribe forms. Like when you all walked away, I was like, I'm a part of your soul, not soul Sunday, self-care.
There we
I
go.
Self-care
Self-care
Sunday.
Sunday.
always would be like, soul Sunday.
That's the Oprah
Uh,
one. Super
Right, that's
Soul
Super Soul
Sunday.
Sunday by Oprah. I know
Yes.
that people think that we're Oprah, but we
Hey.
can't confuse ourselves with her. It is
We're
Self-Care
yes.
Sunday.
We're the usses. But hey.
and I felt like I was a part of it on
Yeah.
Saturday. And
Yeah.
Right.
you all made me feel welcome, but it's a safe space. So we do 4 exercises. Well, I'm not gonna tell you about the fourth one, but you do 3 exercises, and your homework prepares you for the discussion of the activity that we're gonna do in the group. And then at the end, one of the things I will share is that I asked, did you do your journal entries? If you didn't, I'm like, okay, so what happened? You didn't matter enough to do them?
Mhm.
Like, oh wow. And I was like, this is not going to work unless you work it. I know it may be uncomfortable, it may not feel good, but in order to get out of your valley to your mountaintop, it's part of the process. There's nothing you can drink away. You can't be so busy it away, but you literally have to walk through it. And it's okay if you cry because this is a safe space. I might cry with you. And I don't know who has taught us that crying is bad. Actually, scientifically, health wise, when you cry, you release toxins in your body. So when you cry, you literally are releasing that dead stuff that's holding you back from keeping you from climbing up. You're releasing those toxins to free you up for what God, say God, what God has for you. And that healing can start to happen when you cry. And you're also watering the ground because, baby, something is going to grow up from your tears. Just water the like I didn't
No, preach now. Okay. Somebody better receive it. I know I am.
no, and I just need you to know that every tear that you have ever cried, baby girl, even the guys out there listening, it's
Mhm.
watering the soil because it's reaping season. That's what I'm excited
It
about.
is absolutely reaping
Yes, it
season.
is.
And yes,
Yeah,
the guys might want to take part in your class because Keita, they be listening
Yeah,
to the podcast. Did you
they
know
yeah.
that they be
do.
listening?
But
Now we be saying stuff that ain't for guys to be listening to, but they be
They be.
listening.
I was gonna ask you that. I know it's. I'm not your superwoman. A 30-day journey to peace. However, I was listening to a podcast on the way here, and the guy was talking that he was telling the group that he was on the show with that he was fasting, and they were like, "Well, how long you been fasting?" He was like, "Since the beginning of December." Like he was like, "I don't do this. I don't do this. I meditate. Like I'm in prayer." Like I was like, "Wow! Like this is really great." Like I think men need to see other men partaking in things like that. So would there ever be an opportunity for like a journey to peace for men? Like I'm
well,
not your Superman.
I couldn't write it, but I have the dopest business partner. He's so he's so clean. Let me tell you what. If you don't know him, I need you to know him. His
He
name
was
is
on our
Yeah,
panel.
he was.
Yes. He dope. He fresh. He clean.
Hey.
Robert Jackson. So I would like to partner with him because when I tell you that dude is so fly, like he's smart. He has a testimony that I know will help other people. So he would be the one. I legitimately couldn't do it because I don't understand the journey of a man, but
Mm.
he does. So
Mhm.
most definitely would. I don't want to throw it out there that he's going to do it, but ask him about it because he's
Putting
amazing.
it in the atmosphere. Come on, Rob.
That is
The
so
men.
He'll be
funny.
like, "What did she do?" I'll be like,
Exactly. He gonna be like, so I'm doing a journal. Like, what is this?
"No, I got to ask
The
permission first."
men's
Right.
need this, Rob.
Exactly.
The men's.
But yes, he was a part of the
Mhm.
panel. Robert Jackson, the other co-owner of Raising the
Yes.
Bar.
Whoop, whoop.
And you can check that out on our Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is in our Facebook, the group Brunch with Besties
Yeah, in a
podcast
group.
group. So it has, you got to get it from the group. But yes. So okay, so that's awesome. So men gon' heal. Cause see, that's the thing, right? Women, we can't be out here doing all the work.
Right. We the only ones
You
healing
know,
out
we
here.
only went out here healing.
We need some healed
We need
men's.
the healed men.
I love it.
They got stuff going on too.
There we go.
But so I don't want you to give everything away, but can we give maybe an example of one of the exercises?
Yes, I will do day one. So
Okay.
day one, you are going to. So the first thing you're going to do is your homework for day one, which is super dope. Your homework is a picture that represented last year and why. So then we share that as a tribe. And then the activity for that day is the tree of life. And what's so dope about the tree of life, it's a safe way. Again, you're drawing, your tree doesn't have to look perfect, but through we take from the, because I grew up on a farm, a tobacco farm, and my dad and my
Hmm.
uncles, the dirt and so what's dope, you just from the roots. And what I love, my favorite tree is the oak tree because they're so massive, the roots spread out. So we just talk about your roots and what keeps you centered and just in the ground no matter what hello is going on, because some of those trees have had tornadoes come to our property but they're still there and they're still standing, and this tree represents, baby girl, I don't care if somebody didn't love you, they took your stuff, you've been through some hello, and guys too, kings, you done been through some hello, but you're still here because your roots are deep. And so we start there of like, what keeps you in the ground no matter what hello comes? Why haven't you taken your life?
Mhm.
Because some of these people I've met and I've had a chance to hear their testimony, I'm like, oh my, you're still here. First of all, that root, whatever your root system is, tell me what it is because I need to add something to my roots. And then we take a look at like your trunk, so your back. What are your values that you stand on? That you were like, no matter what, this is what I want. And then we go up to your branches. What do you want to see? Write the vision, make it plain on your branches. What do you want to see in your community? But your leaves, who are the people who helped you? And sometimes it's your haters, because I know I've had some haters that have propelled me far. And and then your fruit basket. What legacy do you want to leave behind? But
Mhm.
then the part for me that is just, it just touches my spirit is that compost, that cow manure, that poo poo, whatever you call it. I ain't gonna say it on here, but that stuff. And what is so dope growing up on a farm, if a lot of people are like, that poop stinks, but let me tell you something, baby, if you put it in by the soil, it'll break down, and that's the stuff that helps your tree grow. Your poop is, we focus too much for too long on the process, and literally it's supposed to help your tree to grow. And so that's that stuff right there, that stinky stuff, that's the stuff that we talk, that's killing our peace. It's called peace snatchers, we call it poop, we call it, I'll say it, shit.
Mhm.
um,
There we
but
go.
it is literally sucking, killing our, we, it's instead of it nurturing the ground, it's like a root. Roots kill plants.
Mm,
Boo boo actually helps it to grow.
Mm.
mm.
There we go.
Don't make it a root because it's not. It's a
There we go.
total different thing.
Yeah, and
That
I
was
think that
deep.
that exercise just really helps to shape your life experiences. It
Mhm.
helps you kind of categorize them and make sense of them and say, how can I use this for my good? You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, yeah, that was shit, but
Mhm.
guess what? Now I'm gonna have to flip it and make it serve me. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because at the end of the day, it belongs to me.
Yes.
So I'm
But
going
it does not define you.
it
I want
There
doesn't
we go.
define me because I get to manipulate it. I get to choose how I use it. Because again, if it belongs to me, then I'm responsible for it. So what am I going to do with it? Am I going to let it take root or am I going to let it grow me?
Yeah, that part,
So
the
it
growing.
also
Yeah.
gives you the sense of responsibility, right? So although maybe I didn't cause whatever happened here, I am responsible to clean it up because it belongs to me.
yes.
So
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
was probably one of my favorite exercises. Well, actually, I have another one that was a favorite, but that
Yeah.
one is definitely one that that I will remember.
That one was good. Yeah, it was definitely like, oh, I gotta draw a tree, and then I was focusing on like, is my tree gonna look cute? Like, but then I had to get over that. Like, girl, it's not about the tree. It's about you and your story, and the things that make you you. But yeah, I definitely have another favorite one too.
We trying not to
But
share.
yeah, you all have to sign up
Do
for
the
the
class.
class. You got to do the class because it was life changing. Like it is that serious. Because I think it put into perspective like some things that you might have buried and you didn't really give a lot of thought to. But once you're in a class, it ain't no masks. It ain't. You gotta be transparent.
You got to be accountable
You
to it.
have to. Like you
And I
can't.
can tell when you're bullshitting me.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and be prepared to get called out.
yes, yes.
I'll be like,
Go deeper. You're gonna have to go deeper. It's
Right.
not the surface level
We
now.
ain't doing the surface level in this
You
class.
gotta go
So
deep. So it was definitely our treat. I mean, I know we were kind of like piloting, but I'm so thankful that we got to do it. Like that was dope. Like, so are you in the next session with your new tribe?
new tribe starts in February and
Oh,
they're overseas. Can you believe it?
I can believe
yes,
it. I can
I
believe
believe
it.
it.
My Southern accent just came right out. But no, I get to work with a group of Black women in Birmingham, England. Get the gun. I'm so excited.
I could believe it. Listen, the heart healer don't stop in America.
Right.
It got to
Okay.
cross the seas and the oceans.
So shout out to Hazel in Birmingham, England. I have to
Mm.
do this with her. She has a group of women, and can you believe they are theater? They're into theater.
Oh, that sounds
So
good.
super
See, already she think her second tribe gonna be better than us. But we got line names. We ain't
Hey,
playing with y'all.
listen, we gonna have to do a tribe meetup on Clubhouse.
Yes.
Like after
Yup.
there we go.
Yes, we gonna do a
See?
tribe meetup on
On
Clubhouse because I want to
Clubhouse.
see they tree.
It lit-
Theater major, show me your tree. I got mine.
so yes, definitely have a little meetup.
Y'all gonna
A
be
reunion,
doing like
a tribe reunion.
poetries and songs and
Ooh,
spoken word.
it's gonna be so good, and with their accents, like you're gonna
Right.
be like,
Oh, I'm gonna be like, what did she say? I'm gonna be
They
no,
gonna bust out guitars and stuff. Like, what is y'all doing?
oh my
No,
god.
but that's gonna be like, I don't even know if you're gonna be able to contain yourself
Yes,
to get through the class.
no,
all
I'm
the things you love.
yeah, and I'm excited because like literally God is allowing me to put together women from around the world.
Mm.
And I thank Sherry again because had she not stretched me, I would have missed out on these women in London. And then in March, I'm with Sherry in Texas. We're in Texas. But
Yeah.
then in May, I'm in LA. I have a group of women.
What?
What? You didn't tell me
Yes.
about LA.
And
Okay.
so it's like it's literally outside because of technology and because of pandemic, it makes you think outside of the box.
Mm-hmm.
I literally get to have my feelers across the ocean
The
and then
world.
the world. That's crazy to me. And I'm just excited because when you all, I created a Facebook page that's private for the tribe. So every time a tribe is added, you all get to connect. You get to reach out to a woman and hold her accountable. But also for me, you get a whole audience for Brunch with Besties because I'm excited that if I can help you get your brand out there, I want the women to work together to walk in their purpose because a lot of times we don't have peace because we're not doing what we were planned and created to
Mm,
do. So we have a whole group of women who are encouraging each other to like keep moving,
yes.
girl, let it go, let that compost grow your tree. And I'm so excited. Like I can't even I'm just so excited about it. And I'm grateful that I was chosen to carry this, to birth it.
Mm,
Mm.
And again, I just think Sherry, I think Chanel, like you all were very vulnerable and you allowed me to be a part of it. And so I can't, like y'all are my first. Like I was like, it was just like, oh my gosh, this is so dope. And I'm a part of your tribe. And each time I'll be a part of their tribe. And I know it's going eventually my sister is coming on. She's gonna have to do it. Veronica's gonna be training people.
Yeah.
And
right.
she's gonna be a part of it. And then I'm so excited for what God is gonna do with this and the healing because broken leaders cause havoc. We
Mm,
cannot be broken leading other people. So if I get to be a part of the healing part of the consulting and coaching people, they need to heal. That's what it is. Those
Right.
hearts need to be healed. So I'm just excited that you have some healed leaders who have peace and joy, and
And
it's
that's what they're spreading after
Mhm.
this class. And we're grateful that you took this journey with us.
Mhm.
You know, I know you're right. I did. I said you need to do this, but you did it. You're the one who did it. I just said you need to do it. But you actually did it. You know what I mean? You did it. We got to be a part of it. I'm grateful. It came right on time for me, you know,
Mhm.
and we bonded so much more than we were before. Um, I cried every single time. Like who knew?
Yeah. So did
I
I.
was like, I haven't cried this much in like a couple years. What's going on?
Same.
But you know, the floodgates had opened
Yeah.
and it is what it is.
I don't think I cried, like I didn't cry one time, but the rest of them I was like, and I was like shocked myself, like, dude,
Yeah.
you're crying.
It is
Like
so
what?
weird because the day, like the first day when you cried, I was like, damn it, now I gotta cry too. Like, jeez. Because you know, when you see somebody, I cannot see somebody cry and not cry. Like, I just can't do
Ooh,
that.
and it wasn't like a
Like,
pat, like little tears. It was like the ugly cry.
right.
Like,
But you know what, Keita, so Chanel and I did a workshop before with Keita a couple years
oh
ago, and she
yeah,
got us the
ugly
same way.
cry.
And you know what she told us? She was like, "Oh, I just want Brunch with Besties to come and just to talk about purpose." And we was like, "Oh, that's our mission. We'll be there." We came and did it. And then she was like, "Oh, y'all could just you know, do the little workshop. Nothing major. Here's your paper." And next thing you know, we was like, "Ah."
All ugly cry, like the cry when you get with your mama, or you just like, oh, I gotta get it all out, mama. And it was that cry. So
Yep.
yes.
But you know, and then we got better after that. But a little touch and go there, but you know.
I don't want people to think I make you cry. I don't make you
No, it was our soul like coming
It
out.
was, but you
We
just
was
said
harvesting.
crying is
Yeah,
releasing,
yeah.
cry.
and it plants or it serves the soil to bring forth the
We
harvest,
was
right? So we were
harvesting.
just doing our part, you know. Like I said, the process ain't always cute, right? The process isn't
Never.
always pretty.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to cry. That's just what
Sometimes
it
you gotta
is.
be ugly, and that's
But you
okay.
know, you just got to let it out and then grow from it. Be better. Learn where, how to put these things in your tree. Where do they belong? Is this a leaf?
Hmm.
Is it a root? Is it the shit? Like, what is it? You know what I mean? Just learn how to classify our experiences, take responsibility for them, be accountable to them, and be accountable to ourselves. And say, now I'm aware of this. You know, maybe I didn't know that it was a thing, but now I know it's a thing. So,
Yeah.
what do I need to do about it? How can I be better for it?
Hmm.
So, that's what I got. It was a lot of tears, but you know, we made it.
We made it through,
We made it. You
and
know who didn't cry?
no.
Charlotte.
You. Lakita Denise
Right,
didn't cry.
Lakita
Everybody else
did
cried.
not
Lakita didn't cry.
cry. I'm surprised too. We was like,
I did tear up though. I did. I did tear up.
we was all ugly crying like every day. It was the ugly cry, but that is all good because you feel so much better. Like Sherry Renee said, like it's so refreshing, and you look back over the 4 weeks and you're like, okay, here we go. Like
Yeah.
you feel renewed and just like in a great space.
Yeah. And I think too, I wasn't necessarily, you know, so when I called and I said, "Oh, this is good. Like, you need to do this. This should be a class." I think I was maybe on like day 3 or 4. But I didn't know all the things that were in the journal. So, can we give our listeners a rundown of this journal? What can they expect with 30-day journal to peace? Or I am not your superwoman,
Hmm.
30-day journal to peace.
It's going to stretch you. I mean, I'm just going to be honest because this time around, I did the journal with them for 30 days. And I was like, why would I do this to the people? And it's just like one day it asked, what day did you just want to stop and
Mm.
give up? And what name, like one thing that the whole group I can say, they were like, you had to say 15 things that are great about you.
Yeah.
And there was a conversation that we
I
had
feel like
around
it was
it.
like 30 because we was like,
Uh,
what the
you know,
fuck?
you're like, what? But a lot of times we don't even know how to say positive things about. We don't have peace, and we so devalue who we are. We can't even come up with 15, even if it is 30, because I'm sure there's 30 things we could say that's not good about it.
Hmm.
But actually 30 things about you that really matter. So it's asking you to take a look at those things that you may have pushed down and buried inside of you. I opened up the journal with my journey, like my why. It opens up with my why. It also, I desired love. So I talk about my heart. I also talk about this man who actually inspired my journey to peace because I was destructive and I was scared and I was scared of hurt that I didn't show up authentically as who I am. But he inspired me. And so I wrote this piece about how I felt when I first met him, even in fear. I was like, "Ooh, this is oh no no no," but it awakened love again inside of me. But I knew I didn't want to have love in a space where I was broken, and so I that's why that piece is in there. But again, I give a lot of myself, even though I don't give you the circumstance or the date, like this happened here, but it's a moment. There are pieces also from my journal of moments that have happened that are part of those 30 days. But if you take it and you actually do it and you're real, because you can do the journal and just kind of write some stuff in there. But if you allow yourself to feel, that's the one thing I would put out there. If you allow yourself to feel in that moment, it is very helpful. Something that may come up is that you need help with this journal. Like when I tell you it is okay to have a therapist and a counselor, there is nothing wrong with you for that, but they will help you through the process. So that journal might be like, I need more assistance. Girl, go get that journal, go get that therapist and that counselor because they are paid to listen to you and to help you process through. That is okay. And you may need them for 2 to 3 months to process some of that real deep rooted. And it may trigger that for you, and you realize that you need to go. And I hope that it does do that if you need that deeper work and help because you deserve, like, life is short. You deserve to live your best life. And having the weight of trauma, having the weight of just life, you sometimes need extra help with that.
Mhm. That's good.
I've had a couple people who've done my journal and said, "Yeah, I'm going to go find a therapist." I was like, "Well, I
Mm.
can help you." There's some really cool, there's some really cool therapists out there. So that made me feel good because it's not therapy, but it can be the journal towards your therapy.
Right.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's therapeutic.
There we
It's
go.
definitely therapeutic.
It absolutely is, and that's the kind of the blanket or the safety net that'll maybe open the door to get people to go seek
It's
out
like the
professional
gateway.
help. Yeah, the gateway. The gateway so people can seek out professional counseling. So,
Right,
I
mm,
absolutely.
believe in it.
mhm.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes you may not know, until you make your way through the journal. And then you're like, you know what?
Listen,
Why
listen
not?
here, because some of those activities, I was like, "Ooh," like I buried that one deep, but here we go. Like,
Yeah, and I think, but it's the key is what you said though, is like you have to allow yourself to feel.
mhm,
You know what I mean? Like me, I was getting up in the morning, like, all right, before all the emails start, let me sit down here, let me do my meditation, let me do my journal. Okay, so are we gonna answer this for real or are we gonna answer this for fake? Because I
mhm,
we can do pageant answers all day, right? But or are we gonna get real about it and really talk about what we need to talk about?
mhm.
And if you can't have that conversation with yourself,
Right.
then obviously you can't have it with other people. So
At all. Like, ooh,
yeah.
definitely. But it was wonderful. A wonderful, wonderful experience. I'm glad that, people are also recognizing the talent that you are. And like Sherry Renee said at the beginning, like we are definitely blessed that you found your way to Milwaukee and you are here because you could be anywhere in the world and you are in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and you're absolutely a gem. So
Absolutely. I mean, I've never met anybody like you. You are definitely a unique gift to our
listen.
lives. So I'm grateful that you did that. Number one, that you stepped out on faith and wrote the journal.
Yeah.
Cause that, anytime when you put your own work out there, like even thinking about the first time we did our first podcast episode, like you feel naked,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
What, people are gonna see me? No. Like,
Right.
what is this? But you took a chance. You had, in order to do that, in order to put yourself out there, you have to own who you are. You have to accept who you are. So I think even in you just doing the journal and you just facilitating the class, you're teaching us those things. So you're not explicitly saying it, but you are demonstrating it, right? I own who I am. I accept who
Hmm.
I am. I'm going to talk, I'm going to share my intimate details with you guys, right? Because we're a tribe. We hold each other accountable. We are honest, right? We talk about whatever we need to talk about, whatever's relevant in this moment, and it stays here. And this is a safe place, and we can all trust each other. So then that allows us to do the same thing. and we all evolved after this class. 4 weeks went by fast.
It
I
did.
Like
know.
on week 5, we was like, so wait, we don't meet? Like
Yeah.
what? Like I don't know
It
what
felt
we
weird
supposed to
on
do.
Saturday.
Like
Like
hold
what?
on, something's missing.
It did. It did fly by.
But what I love about the journal is because it is 30 days, you could do it again.
Yep.
You can do it again because we continue to evolve and grow. And so, whoever you were 30 days ago, you may not be that same person and you might find something else. You might go one layer deeper. You might uncover something new, or you might just discover something new about yourself that, and it may not even necessarily be a flaw. It might demonstrate your resilience. Like, it might demonstrate something great in you that you just never acknowledged. And then you can add that to the list of 15.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
For
So
sure.
I think that this journal is one that you can just do over and over again. I look forward to the journey to love, the journey to
Yes.
joy, and
Yes.
whatever else you have coming. And again, a clubhouse. We're gonna do a
And we
clubhouse
got to.
with
Tomorrow.
we are, but I'm saying with our tribe members. When we start getting
Yes.
Yeah.
these tribes going, we're gonna do some clubhouses with them.
Absolutely should.
Cause
That
I
would be
want to
great.
meet the ladies and hear their accents. I want to know who the tray is,
Listen.
okay?
Ah. And hear their experiences. Yeah, we most definitely will set that up. So stay tuned for all of that.
Yes, stay tuned for all of
Um,
that. And so, Keita, tell us, and we do have the links in our show notes, but if you could tell us where we can get the journal and how we can sign up for the class.
So you can sign up for the class and get the journal at the same spot. It's
mm,
Keita Life, KeyTalife.org.
nice.
She said, I'm
It,
an organization, honey.
Here we go.
yes,
Yeah,
.org, .org.
so go ahead and sign up for the class. I mean, might as well get the book and sign up for the class at the same time. Like, just do both of them.
Right.
Because,
And besties, we know y'all about that healing life because that's what we
yes,
do. That is our mission. It's a safe place. You can do it.
yes.
Or just start with the journal. Buy the journal. Start there if you're hesitant, buy the journal.
There we
And then
go.
you might as well just go ahead and
Start the
enroll.
class. So I have a question quick because other people listening might have that same question. So if you want to do the class, do you have can it be like a random group of women
Yeah.
together, or does it need to be like these are my people, I know them?
No, so
Okay.
it could be you can find a tribe, so it would be people sprinkled in that you don't know, or you can bring your sister girl group. So either one of those. So I also have like a corporate. So if a corporate company wants to do the workshop for professional development for their team, if they see some things that are happening, this work is a lot of the root of it is a conflict within self, and it has nothing to do with the people. So this is great for corporate organizations as well. I don't change anything. We do the work, and it really grows a team because a lot you see a person one way, but you don't know what is seeping out. Or the compost that's right by their tree, that shit by the tree, and so it works for companies as well and organizations.
That's awesome. So there you have it, guys.
To be seen.
Yes,
It's
go
a
ahead.
beautiful thing.
It sure is. So go ahead and sign up for that corporate with your friends, or if you just want to be in a tribe of people you don't know, think about the bonds and that you'll make from that too.
Right, exactly. That
Mhm.
is like a sorority.
It is.
Just saying, and these are not your
It
sisters.
is. These are not your
Like,
sisters.
okay,
There we
cool.
go.
That's cool, 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 cool.
Yes,
Cool.
all of that.
All you
But
need is two.
There
all you
we
need is
go. All you need
two.
is two.
That's
That's
nice.
two makes a
A
line.
tribe. Yep, it sounds like three, but it's two.
Shout out to those
Right.
deuces who will tell you that. But all you need is two.
All you need is
Yes.
two,
For a line.
man.
There we go.
No, they're gonna be like, I'm so low.
Oh,
But
no.
so what are we going to put in the to go box? We have to take the takeaways.
I'm taking away I love that it's called a journey. I think journeys are not done. Like you don't just stop a journey. It's not like finished or complete. Like a journey is everlasting, I think, when I think about the word journey. So I love how Sherry Renee mentioned that, it is 30 days and the book you can write in it, like you can write in the journal. So I can do this as many times as I want to. I can keep going back and adding to it because that adds to the journey. So the Chanel I was 4 weeks ago is not the same person. So maybe 4 weeks later, I need to revisit the journal and take a look at it with a new perspective. So I think that's really dope. That's what I'm taking away.
Perfect. Lakita Denise.
What I'm taking away is that my circle is so important. I
Mm.
just every great thing that's ever manifested in my life was either my family, which is my immediate circle, but just the people who've been in my life and who believed in me. So if your circle is not stretching you to be better, you need to rethink your circle. So that's what I walk away with from today.
Mm. And it's so crazy because I feel like the first day I met you, like that's like you live and breathe that. And to go along with that, my takeaway is the beauty of doing this with other people because you can buy the journal and you can do it yourself, but then you only have you. And I think that in doing the journal with a group of people, with your cohort or with your tribe, right, it really truly is iron sharpening iron because part of the work that you had us do was you might have had Chanel display something and then you'll be like, Sherry, what do you see? in
Mhm.
in what Chanel just put up there on the screen. You know what I mean? And it may not be what Chanel saw or what Scarlett saw. So I like the circle
Mhm.
essentially is what I like is that it's different. You know what I mean? Is you get stretched
Mhm.
because you can play it safe when it's just you.
Hmm.
But when you foster trust and you have that environment and y'all gonna be real and be honest, then you get to really get to some things that are really there and expose them. Now you're accountable to it because it's exposed.
Yeah.
Now you can own it. Now here's your manure.
There you go.
Figure out what you're gonna do with this. So I think that the tribal aspect of it
Yeah.
really just puts the nail on the coffin for me.
That's what's up. Yeah, it's definitely that accountability piece. Like when you're working out at home, like you could kind of skimp on it. Like, oh, I'm gonna kind of do these sit
Yeah,
ups. I don't know.
and then you have to be accountable because you're like, okay, I got to do my homework because Chanel gonna
Yeah.
be there and Scarlett gonna
Yes.
be there, and oh my God, did I write? Let me do it. Like, let me get it
It's
together.
that push. Yes, you got to be together. So
Right.
I love it. That's
And
what's up.
then too, I like how the tribes just, and I'm interested to see how the rest of your tribes do. But we just, when we have history, right?
Hmm.
But we became very cohesive. Like you would give us an assignment, and then it's just so crazy how we would show up and everything fit. It may not
Hmm.
be identical, it might be different, but it certainly fit. And I thought that that was always just like a moment that always took my breath away.
I think we're people don't realize how we're more similar than we are different.
Hmm.
And especially as women, I'm not saying we, but sometimes women spend so much time competing when if they stopped and just bared their nakedness and were vulnerable, they'd see how similar we are.
Hmm.
And a lot of your story is my story, is Chanel's story. And
Right.
in the circle, like it's like this circle, and I going to the Lion King and the circle, and the circle, no, for real, and the circle of life, and it moves us all.
Yeah.
And literally that's what you all created. Y'all created the circle of life.
Mm.
And your story impacted Sherry, which impacted me, which impacted Scarlett. Like I'll never forget, shout out to Scarlett. She was like, well, I'm not comfortable in sharing, but because you all, your circle, your testimony, your courage, your vulnerability propelled her. And
Mm.
the next week she was like, and this is what it is. I was like, you if I could have flipped my computer over, I would have been like, oh my, I was so proud of her. And she said it so boldly and she set up different. And the glow she had was like, and this is what it is and why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and that's the other thing too that I like is that, we're here to encourage each other and things like that. But it's also you get to do it in your own time
Yeah.
and at your own pace. So if
Yes.
you're not there on week one, that's cool.
That's cool.
That's cool.
And that was a powerful moment, man. I agree.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
But
And I was
but
so
we just gonna celebrate when you get there on week two
There we go.
or
Right.
four. Whenever.
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 and
Whenever.
it may not happen in week 4. It may happen that you have this light bulb moment and it's an email that I get. So
Hmm.
Right.
your journey and your timing is your timing.
And it
But you
belongs to you.
Yes, and you have to be easy with I always say this, you have to be easy with yourself. Grief. A lot of people think grief is when you die, when somebody dies and they're buried in the ground, but you grieve moving to a different state.
Mm-hmm.
A kid who has to go to a different, that's grief. Like that those phases of grief happen when you break up with someone or a rejection, you grieve. And so really understanding that, and I tell people to be easy with yourself, because Sherry may get over something really fast, and Chanel is like, it weighs on her a little bit longer, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-mm.
Don't let anybody tell you what your time is, because
No,
there's a
that's
time
true.
for everything. Yes.
Yes, in my own timing. Yes.
In my own timing.
Mm-hmm. All
Well,
right.
alrighty, Lakito. It was a true pleasure having you here with us. You are welcome here anytime.
Yes.
I cannot wait to get in the clubhouse with you tomorrow. And I can't wait
Yay.
to get in there with our tribal members. So they need to hurry up
Yes.
and get through their
Get
sessions.
through February, then we'll
Right. I
try.
feel like you're going to reveal them because we don't know who they are. So it's like they coming out. I
Like,
don't know.
I
You
don't
don't know
know,
who they
like
are.
I don't know who they are. So I know one of them, which is Hazel, but I haven't met the other women. So I'm like, this is really
That's
me not.
exciting.
I'm like,
I
I'm
I just
excited.
can't wait to see how this community manifests itself because, like I said, from what I saw in Clubhouse, it truly was people pouring into each other, like people just asking for what they need and literally getting it. Like I told Chanel that there was a young lady who was trying to grow her social media, and this one guy was like, you know what, I'm gonna pay for your marketing for the rest of the year, and she was like, what? And then somebody else said, I'm gonna pay for this for the rest of the year, and she was like, oh my god. And then the third guy said, and I'm gonna pay your rent for the rest of the year, and she was like, oh my god. He was like, he was like, just effing with you. Just effing with you. I'm not doing that. You gonna get your marketing.
Oh
That's it.
God. I would have died, but
But
yeah.
I'm like,
but
what?
no, but just the idea of the bonding, the community, the pouring into, the building up, and then making that girl better. Her business about to pop. You know what I mean? I
Yes.
feel like that's what's gonna happen with your community, right? Is that
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna have all these women who went through this same process, but yet different.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so that's what we're going to do is sharpen each other with this is what I took away from it. Oh my God, I didn't even see that because I wasn't in that space. I couldn't see it, but
Yeah.
now I can see it.
Different
And
perspectives.
I think that that's going to be the beauty of the community that you're building. And I'm grateful that you thought enough to make it into a community. So it was a journal, right, that became a class that is now a community.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the evolution.
Yes.
And I
And I'm
think,
proud of you. I'm
oh,
proud of you.
thank
Yes.
you.
Aw.
And I would say the last thing that will make me tear up, but we're not crying tonight, is that everything that I am is because of my village,
Mm,
my parents, and all of those values that they taught me on the tobacco farm. My grandmother who rained chickens' necks, plucked feathers,
mm,
pulled the skin, fried it up in a pan, to my high school, Roanoke High School, to my church, Ninth Street Church of Christ, to all of my cousins. I mean, Paducah is like the dopest ever because everything that I am is because Anton Reese, Gail Ridgway, all of those people who poured into me. And then to move to a city like Milwaukee for love. And I was trying to get out, but God was like, your love is here. And
mm,
that people like Pastor Locke, who and his wife Kimberly Locke, who wrapped their arms around me. And I have to go back to even Calvary Baptist Church, where they love me back. They, you know how you have to resuscitate through that love. They resuscitated me when I was heartbroken. So I just think of all the people in the city, Dasha Kelly, so many people here who, when I was heartbroken, said, no, there's something greater in you, and say, I see something that you can't, you're crying now, but baby girl. And I'm telling you, I'm manifesting those tears where I cried and didn't even know how I was going to rebound from heartbreak. And I tell you, man, everything that I am is because of my village. Every award that I received is Paducah and the people in Milwaukee who've poured into me, and my babies in New York and the Boys and Girls Club. I don't work there anymore, but those kids made me better. I am because of them.
mm,
Mm,
mm.
wow.
Well,
And
God
y'all are part of
bless.
my village. Like Brunch with
Listen.
Besties, I promise. Like my first major news is my first reveal is coming through Brunch with Besties because you believed in me. And so I have to pay homage and
Mm.
give flowers to where they're due.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Definitely got to give you your flowers. We love
Yes.
you, and yes, very, very proud of all the
Yes,
work you
very,
do.
very proud and
Yes.
can't wait to see where it goes. And
Yay.
proud to just, be able to sow a seed and see it manifest. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Just to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Like, why not?
Mhm.
Why not?
I
And we
love
would
it.
have missed out,
Sure woulda.
So It's
And I
served
forgot,
us.
I got to put him out there. My business partner, Robert Jackson.
There we
Yeah,
go. Shout
shouts
out to
out to
Rob.
Robert Jackson.
I have to put him out there. Yeah.
There we go.
And
All right.
again, y'all can see him along with three other great men who we had a chance to interview. Like I said, Chanel and I were picking their brains. I mean, they were dropping gems. Okay, they
Yeah.
were they were dropping some
Mhm.
major gems. So if you go into our Facebook, into the group, you can watch that.
Mhm.
We was
Yes.
alive and in color.
Yep. Yep.
Living color.
So thanks for tuning in to Brunch with Besties podcast. Until next time,
Peace.
peace.